Warning, the following video will contain content that is not appropriate for children. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, guys, this is it. One final showdown for tonight. Will I win or will I suck some cock? Let's find out. Right here, right now, in another one of my Pokemon Battle Revolution discussion battles. Fuck yeah. Alright, so this is going to be the final one for today. So, this time I'm going to be discussing YouTube and Rumble. So, as you guys may or may not have known this, I recently started up a Rumble channel because, honestly, I'm sick of YouTube's blatant censorship and their bullshit fucking policies. That being said, however, you know, I will say this. There are certain things that I do like about YouTube, obviously. Like, for example, the large viewer base. That's kind of nice. However, again, I feel like if you have time to bitch about a problem, then you have time to do something about it. You know? So, that's kind of why I started up a Rumble channel. Because, you know, you can bitch about YouTube's censorship and their bullshit policies all you want. But unless you actually do something about it, then you're just a useless person bitching about an issue. And that doesn't really solve anything. I mean, it does inform people, I guess. But other than that, it doesn't really actually solve the issue. And when given the opportunity to actually solve an issue, I like to take that opportunity. Which, again, is why I started up a Rumble channel. Like, yes, my YouTube channel still is my main focus and will be my main focus till the day that I get banned off of YouTube. Which I hope that day never comes. Like I said, my goal is to not become a martyr. You know, my goal is to stay on YouTube. I want to be on YouTube. I just want YouTube to fix what's wrong with YouTube. That's all. But desperate times call for desperate measures. You know, so Rumble has become my secondary kind of operation and also my backup plan in case my YouTube channel gets terminated at any point. That way I can still, you know, still produce content for you guys. It just won't be on YouTube anymore. However, I will say this. Rumble is not perfect. Rumble is an excellent, easily the best YouTube alternative out there as far as like the video quality that they allow on their platform and stuff. Because I actually did also try to start up an Odyssey channel, and I'll talk more about why. But they didn't accept my video quality because my videos are apparently too high quality for Odyssey, which is kind of odd. Because my videos aren't that high quality. I mean, they're just basic MP4 files, but, you know, it's like, okay, whatever. Probably because I run them at 60 frames per second or something. But I like 60 frames per second because I like the smooth frame rate, you know. I can technically record at 1080 resolution. Like, for those of you who've been watching my videos, you know that my resolution is 720. And my videos run at 60 frames per second. And I can do, this recording device that I have can record at a 1080 resolution, but then it reduces down to 30 frames per second, and I'm like, I'd rather have the lesser resolution with a higher frame rate. That's just my preferred thing, I guess. You know, so it's kind of like whatever. But the problem that I have with Rumble is that I feel like they're a little bit too strict on the policies of not allowing content of a, let's just say, spicy nature. I don't really know a better way to put it, like, you know, objectifying women, I guess. You know? Like, specifically, they set the bar at you can't show, like, women in bikinis. Last time I checked at their, you know, at the Rumble policies, that's where specifically they set the bar at. They're like, you can't show content of a sexual nature. And then their example was, you know, women in bikinis. And I'm like, that's a little bit too low to set the bar at, in my opinion. Like, I have been very critical of YouTube in the past. You know, don't get me wrong. I am critical of YouTube where it is necessary. But the one thing I do give them credit for is at least allowing content like that on their platform. Like, they don't set the bar that low. You know, like on YouTube, you can still, like, for example, I played a game a while back, and you guys can look it up on my channel, but a game called Rumble Rose's Double X, which is basically a female wrestling game that features women in very, let's just say, provocative situations. And YouTube still allowed those videos to be up, you know, despite them being, even in my humble opinion, very borderline content, you know. Now, granted, to be fair, YouTube did slap a lot of age restrictions on those videos. Some of them I age restricted myself, like all of the videos that I upload now of that particular game, I personally age restrict. But here's the thing, I don't have a problem with that, because no one under the age of 18 should honestly be watching my videos anyway. At least no one under the age of 15 should be watching my videos. Again, realistically, if you're not at least in high school, you should not be watching my content. You know, bottom line. So I have no problem with, you know, YouTube age restricting some of the videos that have, you know, feature more, again, let's just say spicy visuals. Because again, I can't really think of a better way to describe it. But YouTube still at least allows that particular content to exist on their platform. You know, and despite the fact that they may demonetize it or they may age restrict it, to me personally as a content creator, that doesn't matter. I just want to be able to produce the content that I want to produce and be able to have it, you know, be out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if certain people aren't able to watch it, or even if the videos are restricted slightly, I don't really care that much so long as my content is still, you know, I'm still allowed to produce that particular content. I don't really care that much. However, that is one area where I will say YouTube does a better job than Rumble. YouTube has more robust age restriction systems, and YouTube is a more robust platform. You know, they've been around for a while, so they've kind of figured out how to navigate those kinds of things throughout the years. So I got to give credit to YouTube in that regard. Like, they do a good job, I think, in my humble opinion, of navigating their way through that particular kind of content. Whereas something like Rumble, that's a newer platform, they're kind of like, they take the hardline stance of, oh, you can't even show women in bikinis, which I feel like is a little unnecessary. Now, granted, Rumble does a much better job than YouTube at allowing freedom of speech. You know, like, you can get away with saying a lot more shit on Rumble than you can say on YouTube. You know? Rumble does a much better job of allowing freedom of speech than YouTube. You know, YouTube in its community guidelines in some cases straight up admits that they do not allow freedom of speech. And again, me personally, again, with a few, very extremely few limited exceptions, I take a very libertarian approach to both freedom of expression and freedom of speech. Again, with very limited exceptions here or there. I feel like YouTube does a better job of freedom of expression when it comes to content of a spicy nature. However, Rumble, I feel like, does a much better job of allowing freedom of speech. And that's why I still maintain both platforms to this day, at least at the time I'm recording this. Who knows? Maybe I'll get banned off of YouTube by the time I get around to uploading this. Who knows? But I would call upon the creators of Rumble to loosen their belt a little bit, you know? Like, again, I feel like, now granted, I totally understand, like, not allowing nudity, because even a few of my videos on YouTube have kind of, in some cases, accidentally involved nudity. I've never purposefully produced any content with nudity in it. It has happened a couple times on accident because I didn't realize that there was nudity in certain games. Like, for example, when I played a game called Dante's Inferno for the first time, there were nude depictions of women in that game, which I didn't know because I had never played that game before. Had I known that, I probably would have chosen not to play that particular game. But it caught me off guard, so I ended up age restricting the videos, and I haven't had a problem with them since. You know, I ended up personally age restricting those videos. So, and it has not really been a problem since. And it's not like they were nude depictions of like women having sex or anything like that. It was just, you know, nude depictions of women. Again, not in any particular sexual situation, just straight up nude depictions of women. And again, like I said, I feel like that's a fair mark to set the bar at, you know, not allowing straight up nudity. 100% totally understand that. I think that's a fair mark to set the bar at. You know, I agree. There should be no nudity. I mean, even I would say, you know, that you should allow nudity even if, you know, unless it's like two people actually having sex. Like that, for me, is the actual bar that should be set. But at the same time, I still understand setting the bar at not allowing nudity. I think that's a fair mark to set the bar at. You know, as far as limiting freedom of expression. I feel like that's a fair mark to set the bar at. However, I feel like Rumble, again, I just feel like Rumble took that a little bit too far. They set the bar a little too low with, you know, not even allowing, you know, depictions of women in bikinis. I feel like that's a little bit too low to set the bar at for Rumble. So I would call upon the creators of Rumble to kind of loosen their belt a little bit. Like, dude, like honestly, have you ever been to a beach before? Like, I would ask the creators of Rumble, like, have you ever been to a beach before? Like, dude, if you've ever been to a beach, okay, there's women in bikinis. It fucking happens. Again, it's a different story if, you know, they're completely nude or something. You know, we're not talking about like a nude beach, but, you know, again, I just feel like that's a bit too much of a prude stance to take by Rumble on that one. So that's one area where I actually got to give YouTube a lot of credit is, you know, they actually, I would actually argue that YouTube does allow more freedom of expression than Rumble to a certain extent at this particular point in time. Hopefully, though, in the future, hopefully the creators of Rumble kind of loosen their belt a little bit on that, so to speak. That's what I'm hoping, again, and I would call upon the creators of Rumble to, again, kind of loosen their belt a little bit on that kind of shit. Like, it's harmless content, you know? Just showing women in bikinis, it's harmless content. It's just a bit of harmless fun, honestly. And I think that not allowing that is a little bit, you know, again, it's a little bit too prude of a stance to take, in my humble opinion. Now, again, though, that being said, that is one area where I think YouTube does a better job than Rumble. But again, I want to reiterate, Rumble does a much better job than YouTube at allowing freedom of speech. Which, again, is the main reason why I've taken the time to support Rumble. You know? Because, again, if you're willing to bitch about YouTube's censorship and YouTube's bullshit policies of censorship, you know, when it comes to freedom of speech, if you're willing to bitch about it, then put your fucking money where your mouth is. Fucking do something about it. And that's what I have done. Because again, I feel like as a content creator, I have no right to bitch about, you know, the censorship policies of YouTube if I'm not willing to do anything to solve the problem. My personal policy is that if you have time to bitch about the problem, then you've got time to do something to help solve the problem. Or at least try to figure out how to solve the problem. That's my thing. It's like, again, if you got time to bitch about it, then you got time to do something about it. That's my philosophy on that, and that's just how I roll, you know? That's how I fucking roll. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on, you know, YouTube versus Rumble. I think there are certain things that YouTube does better than Rumble, and I think there are certain things that Rumble does better than YouTube. But I will continue to use both platforms. For now, obviously, YouTube remains my main priority. You know, this is where I have the most viewership on, you know, and whatnot. But I will still focus on, you know, uploading videos on Rumble as well. So If y'all want to check me out on Rumble, I believe there is a link in the description of this video to my Rumble channel, assuming that I'm doing my job properly and putting all the links in the descriptions. Should be a link to my Twitter page and my Rumble channel, again, assuming that I did that properly. But even if you go to my main YouTube channel, there should be a link on my main YouTube channel to my Rumble channel as well. So, yeah. If you guys also want to support me monetarily, because I don't make any... That's the other thing, too, is that I completely demonetized my own YouTube channel a long time ago because of YouTube's whole monetization bullcrap thing. So I don't actually make any money off of my YouTube videos, but my Rumble channel, believe it or not, is actually monetized. So if you guys want to actually support me, like, monetarily, you know, I don't have, like, a Patreon. I'm not a big enough YouTuber to waste my time opening up a Patreon account or anything like that. And I probably wouldn't use Patreon anyway. I'd probably find an alternative website because Patreon's become a little bit bullshit with their censorship policies in recent years, so I'd probably find an alternative, you know, like maybe even PayPal or some shit like that, I don't know. But if you guys do want to support me monetarily, then I would recommend going and checking out some of my videos on Rumble. You know, shit like that. Believe it or not, I've actually made 1 cent off of my Rumble channel, so that's cool, made 1 cent. Which means that in my 10 years of YouTubing, I have made more money off of my Rumble channel in 1 year than I've made off of 10 years worth of YouTubing. So, you know, if you guys want to support me monetarily, go watch my videos on Rumble. But, yeah. Again, like I said, as far as things are concerned at the moment, there are certain things that I like about Rumble better than I like about YouTube, and there are certain things that I like about YouTube better than I like about Rumble. So neither platform is perfect. YouTube has, in my opinion, the potential to become a perfect platform, and honestly, so does Rumble. I think both platforms have the potential to be absolutely incredible platforms, assuming that they fix up some shit on both platforms. YouTube needs to stop their censorship bullshit, and Rumble needs to cool it a little bit. You know, they need to loosen their belt a little bit on the whole not even allowing depictions of women in bikinis. I mean, that's, again, that's a little too much, you know, like, again, I think they should set the bar at not allowing nudity, you know, that's understandable, but not allowing women in bikinis, that's a little too much, Rumble. You're being a bit too prude, in my humble opinion, Rumble, so I'd recommend you loosen the belt on that, especially if you're going to want to attract gamers to your platform, to the creators of Rumble. If you're going to want to attract gamers to that platform, you're going to want to loosen up on that a bit. Okay, Rumble, I'm just being honest. Like, y'all are going to want to loosen up on that quite a bit if you're going to want to attract gamers to your platform. You're going to want to loosen up those rules a little bit. Again, I just feel like that's a weird place to set the bar at, not allowing women in bikinis. That's a weird place to set the bar at. Again, dude, have you ever been to a fucking beach before? But whatever. I will still support Rumble and YouTube for now. Don't necessarily support YouTube, but I will continue to use YouTube's platform and continue to support Rumble as well. But YouTube will still be my main platform for now. At least until they decide to send me down the memory hole. But like I said, I have no desire to become a martyr. You know, YouTube is going to be the one that makes that decision, whether I become a martyr for free speech or not. You know, I like I said, I want to stay on YouTube. I've put a lot of time and effort into making this YouTube channel what it is, and it would suck ass if it all just fucking disappeared one day. You know, that would suck. But that's the world we live in, and I've had to come to terms with that in recent years, and I've prepared for that by creating my Rumble channel so I can still get my message out there, you know. And at the end of the day, again, The only thing I've ever wanted to do with this YouTube channel and with my various social media operations is just play video games with you guys and have a good time. It's just the world has become so stupid that I cannot sit back and sit idly by and not say anything about it when I see injustices being done to my fellow humans. When I see stupidity, I'm going to call it out for what it is. When I see injustices being done, I'm going to call that out for what it is. And I will not sit idly by and keep my mouth shut while these people try to push their insane ideas on the rest of us. I won't do it. Won't fucking do it. Will not sit idly by. I will speak my mind. Whether I do that on YouTube or Rumble, well, that's up to YouTube. So, it's a stupid fucking world we live in, but, you know, you still just try to do the best you can, I guess. Alright, well, either way, guys, that is going to be it for me for today. So, as always, everyone, stay cool and rock on. This is Multi-Step, signing off.